I am Sergeant at Arms of Agnel Toastmasters Club. I welcome you to the 393rd meeting of Agnel Toastmasters Club. I request you to kindly stand or kindly put your hand on your heart for the club mission statement. The club's mission is to provide supportive and a positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Can we be seated? Before we start the meeting, I will give you certain hygiene instructions. First of all, kindly put your mobile phones on mute. I'll give you 10 seconds for that while I'm reading the other instructions. Kindly do not disturb the speaker while the speech is on. And the speaker means not only the prepared speaker, any speaker who is standing here on the podium. Don't move in and out of the meeting while the speech is on. Kindly refrain from coming inside or going outside while speech is in progress. When you hear an applause or when there is silence or break after a session, then you can either enter or exit. Drinking water is available both on the ladies and the gents washroom. So that's washroom side. Gents washroom is on that side and ladies washroom is on my back. Now I would like to invite somebody. After her name, a book reading app is named. And that book reading app, what it does is that it connects to various libraries, and these libraries have their ebooks. So with your library number, all those library number, whatever your library number is, for example, if you are a member of British Council library, then you have a certain number, then you can connect with this app and connect with your library. And the name of that app is Navi, and I welcome Toastmaster Navi to come and take over as the secretary.
A very good evening to all of you, Toastmasters and my dear guests. With that, I open meeting number 390. Starting, I would like to speak to the guests. If you could just stand up in your place and let us know your name, what brought you to Toastmasters, and how did you hear about Agnel Toastmasters?
Hello Toastmasters and guests. I am Ashish Gade. I am a Toastmaster from Mumbai club. I am here because I wanted to explore other clubs along with the club which I have been part of. And I have heard about Agnel's club. I have read about Agnel's club from the website. Next slide.
My name is Agnel Toastmasters, and I'm an expert of years doing my financial consultancy work. So I just want to improve on my soft skills and my personal development. And I'll check online and look at all those masters. And I would like to go to every coaching and all the information.
Welcome.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Uday Mole. I live in Mumbai. I attended Harvard Toastmasters Club last Saturday. That's how I learned the Agnel's Club. They suggested me to try this out. So I'm here to update myself and see how the process works.
Thank you.
Good evening everybody, my name is Agnel Toastmasters. I work for a company called Navi. So what brought me to the Toastmasters is I have been working on a mentor mentee program with one of my colleagues.
Please say a yes, because you're surrounded by supporting people who want you to succeed. And here you can learn, you can make mistakes, learn and grow. So the next time our BPO asks you to take up a role, our AD, our area director, anybody asks you to take up a role, not just in the club, at the area level, at the division level, don't think too much about it. How will I do? When will I do? Just take it up. And then we will figure it out. You have a support of Agnel Toastmasters Club. We are 50 strong. If you need help, we are all in here. time somebody offers you some role, asks you to do something, you will not think too much about it and just say yes. Yes?
Yes.
Louder.
Yes.
Thank you. Now with that, I would like to invite somebody on stage who is a software professional and has been a Toastmaster for about 4 years. Now she is somebody who said yes to all the roles that came her way. I asked her will she be a contest chair, she said yes. She said yes to being a secretary of the club. She said yes to be the vice president membership of the club. And what a vice president she has been. And she's doing such an amazing job. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Ruchikumar.
Good evening.
So let's start with a small fun activity. I'd like everyone to please stand up. Repeat after me. When I say the people who are, I don't want you all to dance. So, Navi should come. Okay. When I say left, please move slightly to your left. When I say right, please move slightly to your right. Everyone got it?
Yes.
Got it? So here we go. When you don't know what's left, left. Yes. When you don't know what's left, do what's right. And when you don't know what's right, look to your left. And if that still doesn't help, just laugh. Because sometimes doing the right thing might feel left out. And turning left might just lead you right back to where you started. So take a step to the right, think twice to the left, spin around, and realize that life is just one big circle of lefts and rights. Trying to find balance. So if you feel left out or not quite right, relax. You're exactly where you're supposed to. You have to stand. Stand. I see a few of you are already following the command. But I want you to be more positive. So here's the request. When I say left, move to your right. When I say right, move to your left. Just the reverse. Got it? So let's try it again. When you don't know what's left, do what's right. And when you don't know what's right, look to your left. And if that still doesn't help, just laugh. Because sometimes doing the right thing might feel left out. And turning left might just lead you right back where you started. So take a step to the right, think twice to the left, and realize that life is one big circle of lefts and rights. Try to find balance. So if you feel left out, or not quite right, not quite right.
You are exactly where you're supposed to be.
Relax, exactly where you're supposed to be. And that brings us to the theme of today's meeting, puzzles to puzzle. Now the meeting has been throwing out some riddles, some puzzles your way. So now you can sit back. Sit back. And get ready to use your brain let's start with an introduction of acting. Timer for today's meeting is Toastmaster Harshit. So please welcome Toastmaster Harshit. Toastmaster Harshit recently joined Toastmasters to master the art of storytelling and leadership. He is a student and currently doing his articleship. He is a student and currently doing his articleship with PWs. So Harshit asked the student, tell me, which word is spelled incorrectly in every dictionary? Which word is spelled incorrectly in every dictionary? Dictionary is spelled. Dictionary is spelled. Which word is spelled incorrectly in every dictionary?
Good evening, Toastmaster. Good evening, Toastmaster and guests. I am Toastmaster Harshit and the timer of the day. As the timer, my duty is to time the prepared speeches and evaluations. For prepared speeches, the time allotted varies as per the project and will be stated by the evaluator. For instance, for an icebreaker, the time allocated is 4 to 6 minutes. For evaluation, the time allotted is 2 to 3 minutes. Speakers must meet the specified time limit to qualify the awards at the end of the meeting. I will display the green card at the minimum qualifying time, yellow card at the midpoint of the qualifying time range, and the red card at the maximum qualifying time till the end of the speech. For prepared speech and evaluation, the speaker has 30 seconds grace period before the minimum qualifying time and after the maximum qualifying time. All the speakers who continue to speak beyond the 30 seconds grace time will not qualify for the vote. I will report the time taken by the speakers when called upon. Thank you and over to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Harshit. Let's have a 3 round of applause for him. Our next round player is the art counter, Toastmaster Yashwant. Please welcome Toastmaster Yashwant with a 3 round of applause. So Toastmaster Yashwant is an engineer by profession and a curious learner by passion. Whether it's decoding systems, simplifying complex ideas, or bringing humor to everyday observations, it does it with clarity and energy. Toastmaster Yashwant, what are decoding things? So I'll give you a puzzle to decode. I'll write it down just a second. X minus A into X minus B into X minus C, X minus D until X minus Z is equal to. Is equal to. Nobody has to answer now. Don't be molecule level decode. X minus A into X minus B, X minus C, or what is it? Right? Right? Any guesses from the audience? Zero. Right?
There will be X minus X at some point.
That's okay. Okay. Your answer was negative this time. Or zero. Is it?
Good evening, Toastmasters and guests. I'm your art counter today. The purpose of art counter is to note words and sounds that are used as crutch or pause fillers by anyone who speaks. During the meeting, I listen for overused words, including and, but,
Well, so, and I'll also listen for the filler words, including, well, I'll also note when a speaker repeats a word or phrase like I, or this means. At the end of the meeting, I'll report the number of times that each speaker used these expressions. Thank you.
Now please welcome Rameli for today's meeting, Toastmaster Culture. Toastmaster Culture is powered by curiosity, chai, we'll have chai, and questionable dance moves. She's going to dance as well. She's always chasing stories, sunsets, and good conversations. Suppose was consider your puzzle. You walk into your room. The three things: a match, a lamp, and a candle. What would you like this?
Thank you, Toastmaster Rishi. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, as grammarian, it is my responsibility to pay close attention to all speakers, listening carefully to the language usage. I'll take note of any improper language as well as any outstanding words, quotes, sayings, or thoughts. As grammarian, it is also my duty to introduce the word of the day and phrase of the day. For today's meeting, the word of the day is conundrum, which means a confusing and difficult problem or question, something that puzzles or challenges understanding. An example of using the word is the escape room was full of clever conundrums that kept everyone guessing until the end. The phrase of the day is piece of the puzzle, which means a small but important part that helps complete or solve a larger problem or mystery. An example of using the phrase of the day is her insight was the missing piece of the puzzle that finally solved the riddle. Each speaker is encouraged to use the word of the day and phrase of the day. When a speaker uses the word of the day or phrase of the day, the members are requested to show a thumbs up sign to encourage other speakers to use the word of the day and phrase of the day. I will give the grammarian's report when called upon during the meeting and also report on the usage of the word of the day and phrase of the day. Thank you.
So please welcome the quiz master for today's meeting, Toastmaster Isha. Yes, how many people are Yes, how many people are So Toastmaster Isha is a CA working in finance and she loves to read books. Toastmaster Isha, puzzle for you is, what belongs to you, Isha? What is used more by others? It's a bit simple. Okay, no. What belongs to you? What is used more by others?
All my things.
Hi everyone, I'm Nisha. I'm the Toastmaster for today. I'll be the one finding I'll be the one finding out how well you'll be able to listen. My job is essentially to pay close attention to all the speeches and then after that come up with a kind of few questions. So today is a speech marathon, so this is a good way to stay alert, engaged, and also competitive because I got chocolate from whoever gets the right answers.
Wow.
And I'll come back in the end when we generally evaluate the policy to quiz you. Until then, back to you.
So let's start with the prepared speech segment. As you already told, it is a speech marathon. So our first speaker is Toastmaster Pradeep, whose speech will be evaluated by Toastmaster Pradeep. So please welcome Toastmaster Pradeep with a huge round of applause. So Toastmaster Pradeep is the current VP Education of Agnel Toastmasters. He has also served as VP PR in the last ESCOM term. Okay, Toastmaster Which five-letter word becomes shorter when you have two letters? Simple. Which five-letter word becomes shorter when
Okay, my target speed is attempting is level one speech of the pathway of engaging her. The objective of this speech is for the member to introduce himself to the club and also to learn the basic structure of speech. So I wish him all the best and over to you.
Now please welcome Toastmaster Pradeep on stage. Yes, I will do your applause. So Toastmaster Pradeep is a Microsoft certified trainer and an entrepreneur who helps businesses turn data and technology into smart decisions. Through his company, Tech and Training Corporate Solutions, he has empowered over 400 global organizations with Microsoft 365, Power BI, and AI-driven solutions. He is also a dedicated reader of Ramayana and Mahabharata. But you have a last question.
Yes, sir.
Your wife is not here right now. So
Fortunately.
Fortunately. Okay, because she's not here, she shoots you. Then puts you underwater for 5 minutes. And finally hangs it. Sometime later, you both go out and enjoy dinner.
I go on.
Sometimes later, you both go out and enjoy dinner. So how is this possible?
Can you repeat it again?
Your wife, Shweta, she shoots you.
Ah.
Then puts you underwater for 5 minutes. And finally
Photograph?
hangs it. Yes, she's photographed you. Then you put the photo frame inside water. Then she hangs it.
Well, this happens to me every day. Thank you.
So Toastmaster Pradeep, angels in my life, Toastmaster.
Thank you. Good evening, Toastmasters and guests. Just a question before I start my speech. How many of you have experienced angels in your life where you were undecisive about what is going to happen next and someone stepped in and helped you in that situation? Can I request you all to raise your hands? Thank you very much. Today I'm going to talk about various angels in my life, and that's the reason I'm standing in front of you all today. When I talk about the first impression, first day, I remember my father talking about my birth. It was in Rasaini, almost 100 kilometers from here. In Rasaini, it was blue sky and the air was fresh. At that time, my father was very anxious and happy that he is going to be welcoming a child. I was born in a very pious week of December, which is falling between Christmas and the New Year. It was kind of celebration which the weather wants to make on the occasion of birth of a new child. I was born and my father and my mother both were very happy welcoming. Little did they know that they are going to face certain challenges in future. But according to my experiences, challenges are not to modify the way you are approaching a problem, but to modify your thinking. And that's what actually changed my life altogether. The first thing which happened to me was I was 6 months old and was stuck with polio. I never bothered to ask my parents because I don't think it was really required. But they really managed it well. Today I'm able to travel across the country Even I've been several times outside the country. I have handled multiple projects. I'm managing a team right now. All this is possible because they did not feel bothered about the situation that they were landed into, because this was something completely unfortunate that happened. But soon after, I struck with polio and all those things. My father got in touch with several people, and the only solution that we could find is he has to live with it. So that was the problem. My father was the first angel in my life, and let me tell you how he brought me up. Literally, when I was a kid, I used to think, "Bapu sehat ke liye tu bada hanikark hai," and that was the real song. Let me tell you one instance what happened. One day, he used to make me walk all the time. In the morning, early in the morning, he used to wake me up and he used to ask me to put on the calipers and go out and walk. One day, he was making me walk, and the road in which I was walking, it was completely under-constructed road. I fell down. My hand started bleeding. And what he did? Let's get up. He brushed all the dirt which was there, and he said, "Let's walk back home." When we got home, he then did all those kind of medicine and all those things. He did that, but he did not show any sign of empathy or sympathy. I would say empathy also, because he showed no emotions at all. And that time I said, I was very small enough to even think of any reaction, but I said, this is how the life is going to be. But life was still not very smooth on me. What happened is, in my childhood, the accessible washroom was something which most of the people would not even have heard of. I used to find it extremely difficult to access washrooms. And my second angel came into being, and she was my teacher, Janki. She was my class teacher. She came and told me that whenever you find any difficulty, don't hesitate, just call me. And I never bothered to call her. I called her without bothering. Multiple times during the day also. One day I still remember she had a fracture in her leg. I did not know that this is going to happen. So I just asked someone to call her. That person went and called her up, and I could see that she was not even able to walk properly. And that time, that memory is still flashing in front of my eyes that this happened. But today, the kind of courage, the emotions that I have, I can link it to my teacher, which is Janki ma'am, and I consider her as my mother. After that, what happened is, we moved from Durgapur to Baroda, because my father was in armed forces. The one thing that I learned from him was strength and courage. Never to lose patience. That came from my mother. When I came to Baroda, again I used to face the same challenges that I had faced earlier. But this time, God has sent another angel. She was my elder sister. By this time, she was a grown-up girl. She could help me in whichever way possible. And after Baroda, we moved on to Mumbai. And when we came to Mumbai, it was my 10th standard, 10th to 12th I did here. And I got into engineering college. But in second year, I flunked. And I thought, let me support my family, because my family was going through some financial crunch. So I joined international call center, domestic call center, and after the second angel that I had was, this time it was not the human, but it was the call center, which is Sutherland, where I attended 5-day speech. In that 5-day course, I learned how to speak English, how to frame sentences, what are the tenses, what are the different structure of English language, and that improved my skill. And I could see the transformation in myself, that within 6 months I got into Wipro BPO, which was an international call center. And after that, I started my own business. That's a different journey altogether. But in this entire journey, what I could say is, whatever happens to you, life puts you in the trouble, but how you fight back, that's what matters. And that's what I learned from my parents. Thank you very much.
So I have Is it done, everyone? So our next speaker is Toastmaster Libby, whose speech will be evaluated by distinguished Toastmaster Ron. So please welcome distinguished Toastmaster. The distinguished Toastmaster Ron Memoria brings 13 years of Toastmasters experience, passionately committed to public speaking, leadership, and personal growth. In addition to his Toastmasters journey, Ron has successfully led Miracle Works, his web design company, for the past 23 years. He is also an author who writes fiction, with his books available on Amazon. So, distinguished Toastmaster Ron, you love Miracles. What's your company name? So tell me, a man dies of old age on his 25th birthday. How is this possible? A man dies of old age on his 25th birthday. How is this possible?
February 29.
Sorry?
Feb 29.
He might have.
He is born in 29th Feb, sir. So his birthday happens every 4th
Saves the best word for me. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Okay. Toastmaster Libby is giving her level 1 project 2 on the pathways engaging humor. The project is write a speech with a purpose. The purpose of this project is for the member to learn or review basic methods for writing a speech with a defined purpose and to present a well-organized speech on any topic she chooses. Time of please note is 5 to 7 minutes. All the best, Toastmasters.
So now please welcome Toastmaster Libby on stage. Let's have a huge round of applause. So Toastmaster Libby is an HR professional for the last 14 years. She has been Toastmaster for 4 years and has served as VP membership and VP education as the president of Agnel Toastmasters. Her passions include reading, exploring travel opportunities that fits her budget and shifts. So Toastmaster Libby, your speech title seems to be a little difficult. So let's make it a little more difficult. Can you say your speech title backward, word by word?
Bag punching, corporate of confession.
Confession.
Toastmaster Libby, confessions of a corporate punching bag. Confessions of a corporate punching bag. Toastmaster. All this.
A very good evening. My name is Libby Abraham and I am a human resource professional. Yes, the very same HR that you like to blame if your salaries are delayed, if your leaves are rejected, or if your appraisal ratings looks like the mark sheet of a backbencher from your school. Now people seem to think that human resources is people management. I say it is damage control with a smile. Toastmaster of the day and my dear friends. The story of any HR person begins at a very common point, recruitment. Now I like to call this the Swiggy for managers, where managers place their orders. Libby, I want a candidate with 12 years of experience in AI. And that left me in a conundrum. I told him, sir, but AI has been around for just about 6 years. Pat, I get a reply. So, we need a proactive candidate. I had no response to that. I nodded my head. I moved on to the next stage, which is sourcing CVs. And now I like to call that Tinder for corporates. So I have this, I post my requirement with a list of skills and qualifications that are required. And what do I get? I get a flood of CVs. Hardly any of them matching what I need. Like in a dating app, I say I'm looking for a single guy, but I have 10 married men who will swipe my profile very confidently saying it's complicated. Moving on to the next stage, the interview process. Now, these very same managers who gave these impossible orders and wanted immediate replacements, when it's time for interview, they vanish. They're busy with meetings, they're busy with presentation, and God forbid, if something goes wrong, the HR did not give a good profile. You are right. The HR has a secret factory where it manufactures good candidates overnight. Now, there are these candidates themselves. When you look at their CVs, the list of skills and qualifications is any recruiter's dream. And when you meet them, those lists of skills look more like wish lists than actual skills they have. It's like I go on a date to meet a tall, dark, handsome guy from a Milton Pool's hero, but I end up meeting somebody who looks like my aunt's neighbor's friend. Now, we have found this messiah who is going to save all of us, and we have given him an offer letter. Next is a series of calls, emails, text which says just checking in like some rejected lover. No response. We have been ghosted. Now, HR professionals don't need heartbreaks to make them strong. This is like any other Monday for us. Now, after all this, one candidate deigns to join the company. Day one, they are like these excited, enthusiastic puppies who joined the company. I had this one candidate who came and asked me, ma'am, when will I get my next promotion? And I had to calm him down and tell him, sir, let me make your iCard first. After that, day two, and that's when reality strikes. The coffee machine has not been working since 2009. They don't have access to Wi-Fi. Biometric machine does not accept their fingerprints. And who is at fault? The HR. AC is too cold? HR. AC is not cold enough? HR's fault. I didn't get a parking spot? What is the HR doing? Cafeteria is too far away? HR is no good. I'm sure the traffic jam on the road is also the HR's mistake. Now, after they have settled in, some time passes by, and then comes my favorite time of the year, the appraisal period. Now, during appraisal period, suddenly all employees become emotional, empathetic, kind. I had this person who came in, ma'am, I have been working for the company night and day. And I wanted to ask that person, how many hours of that has been on Netflix? You wouldn't believe it. I had one person who came in who actually showed me a PPT which said why that person deserves 200% hike. Now, my favorite part in this appraisal period is after the periods are over, the ratings are done, and you have these people saying, they become these big boss contestants, you know, and they say, I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed. Right. Or there are these people who say, oh, let's see who the HR favored this time. Boss, if I had that kind of a power, wouldn't my rating reflect that as well? The next part of my job is the most frustrating for me. It's called employee engagement. Now, every festival, every national holiday, every random Tuesday, let's do something fun for the employees. Okay? Then we have Rangoli competitions, virtual antaksharis, and whatnot. And we beg people to participate. We've sent out emails, we've sent out DMs, and on the day of the event, nobody turns up. And when you ask why, HR didn't inform us. Really? I think we spammed your accounts more than a real estate developer spams us. And the people who complain the most are the people who didn't participate at all. They say these HR events are very boring, and that's why I want to tell them, boss, this is corporate India. You have not been invited to a Playboy mansion. Yes, HR jobs sometimes can be thankless. We do not have any sales target, but we end up becoming targets. People come to us at their most vulnerable, when they are angry, when they are desperate. We listen to them, we calm them down, and we fix problems, often without people even knowing it. But amidst all this chaos and complaints, there are some moments which make it all worthwhile. When somebody that you have hired becomes a confident leader in your organization. When a team enjoys an event that you have organized. When an employee says, thank you, I really needed it. These are the moments that make me very happy that I am an HR professional. Every rule that we have, every attendance policy that we have, every appraisal form that we release is nothing but a human being trying to hold an organization together. We may not build products or close deals, but we build trust, we build teams, and we build collaborations. And that is what makes HR worth my while. Thank you.
That was an amazing speech. It was hilarious as well as it was thought-provoking. So let's fill out the feedback slips. We'll have 1 minute silence for that. So our next speaker is Toastmaster Ruchi Negi, it's not me, whose speech will be evaluated by Toastmaster Ishwar. So please welcome Toastmaster Ishwar. So Toastmaster Ishwar is a passionate Toastmaster, known for his keen eye for detail and commitment to helping speakers elevate their craft. On the stage, Toastmaster Ishwar is a bona fide cinema buff who can dissect a film with the same precision he applies to a speech. So Toastmaster Ishwar, you love dissecting movies.
I do.
So suppose you are watching a movie,
Not a bona fide cinema buff.
but you love to dissect
Yeah.
movies. So suppose you are watching a movie in which there is a one-story house in which everything is red. Red walls, red carpets, red furniture, okay, everything is red. So which color are the stairs?
Should be there.
I repeat the question. Suppose you are watching a movie in which there is a one-story house in which everything is red.
It's a one-story house, so I believe there are stairs.
Please go on.
A very good evening, fellow Toastmasters and wonderful guests. As the evaluator of Toastmaster Ruchi Negi, it's my pleasure to let you know that she's going to be attending her Level 1, Project 2 of Dynamic Leadership Pathway. And in this pathway, she's going to be exploring her leadership styles and giving a speech with purpose. The stipulated time for the speech is 5 to 7 minutes. Over to you, Toastmaster.
So please welcome Toastmaster Ruchi on stage. Let's have a picture of Toastmaster. So Toastmaster Ruchi, she praised the quiet in the street, so she can fill it with laughter. She walks alone, but when you come near her,
Tomorrow.
Any guesses?
Tomorrow.
Okay, so let's start with the
Thank you.
The Toastmaster is a glass of trust. A glass of trust Toastmaster. Thank you.
Hi all. So we make many connections in our life. Some fade with time and some remains with us for our entire life. I also have a beautiful connection I experienced in my life which taught me some valuable lessons, and this is special connection for me with my father-in-law. So my first meeting before my marriage with my father-in-law did not go well. Because at that point in time, my parents were not agreeing with my marriage with my husband because they were from different caste. And when I met my father-in-law told me, so even though they are not agreeing, you should get married. But naturally, I couldn't accept that idea, and I told him, for me, the new relationship cannot come at the cost of losing the existing one. But unfortunately, he took it in a different way and thought I may not be very much serious about his son. So this first meeting didn't go well. Then after almost 5 years of courtship period, me and my husband, we got married with the mutual consent of both the families. And at that point in time, there was so I'm telling you the story of at a particular time period when my father-in-law was staying with us in Delhi. And we had a family routine, a different kind of, a similar kind of culture that every Friday evening, both father and son would sit together and will have some small gathering type situation where they will have some drinks also. Most of the time, in silence, they will not speak to each other. They would either watch some boring TV show or maybe some news, etc. So it was more like an obligation, not like a fun party. Since it was a democratic family, I was also allowed to have my toast. But practically my husband sneaked my glass in the kitchen or in my room, like a secret door. So one day, I was in my kitchen, I was having my glass. Suddenly my father-in-law walked into the kitchen and told, he probably wanted something. He wanted to ask something, but the moment our eyes got connected, he forgot what he came for and he walked out. For me, it was a different moment. He maintained a silence that was good for us, but I'm sure he would have thought, I'm the Choti Bahu in the family, so he would have thought Choti Bahu is slightly modern. He didn't say anything. After that moment, there was no secret. However, the family was behaving like nobody knows anything and life was still going on. One day, I had a huge fight with my husband, that too on Friday. Now, the family gathering started. I was in the kitchen. I was waiting for my husband, but my husband didn't come. I waited for some period of time. When I realized my husband was not going to come, I thought, okay, now this is the action time. So I marched to living room where both were sitting. I stood in front of my father-in-law and said, Papa, I also want to have my toast with you. Any guesses what he would have said? He said, "Jao apna glass leke aayo." And from that evening, from that sentence, our evenings were changed. Now instead of the three used to sit in the living room, my husband was very much impressed with me. He immediately accepted the role of a bartender. One for wife. Life was going very good. For me, the power comes with responsibility. The quality of snacks improved. The TV volume was decreased. And now we used to have discussion around family gossip, the panchayat election, stuff and politics, and our career, our retirement plan, everything we used to cover. Life was going very good. The bonding was all-time high. And I realized that point in time, cheers actually make the relationship stronger. Then my husband decided to move to Mumbai. And his care responsibilities passed on to us, both of us. Me and Papa, I'm using the word Papa now, the expression is used. Now me and Papa, we both like a team. But our routine was very much similar, including our Friday routines. I used to come home by 7 p.m. And the moment I stepped the door, Papa, I would hear Papa is saying, "Jao, glass leke aa jao." And I was also like an obedient bow, will appear with the glass. That point in time, I realized because we got so much closeness, we about the discipline, about the life, the challenges and everything. It was actually a very, very meaningful time for me. And eventually, because my husband had already moved to Mumbai, we also started our planning towards shifting to Mumbai. Papa was not very keen initially because he thought Mumbai would be further far from Uttarakhand. But gradually, with my efforts and with my discussion, consistent efforts, I convinced him, not only for our women, but for his children also with us, that he will be also staying with us. But unfortunately, destiny has some different plan. He fell ill, and then COVID also arrived in our life. After a long hospital stay, once he came back from hospital, he was in need of lot of care, mentally, physically, emotionally. And when he regained some strength, one day he called me, Kochi. Now I want to share you something. This is my money, jewelry, passbooks, and everything I have. I want to give it to you. Because for me, you are a dependable person. You are a trustworthy person. I was shocked, overwhelmed. I had tears in my eyes. It was not about the money. It was about his trust. Till the time, I had a thought in my mind that Papa see me as a very goofy and carefree person, not the dependable one. Because I came to this family from a different background, different culture, and a totally outsider. But that gesture changed everything. It taught me when we speak from heart, when we act with sincerity, the world around us starts changing. I also realized the first impression is not for the entire life. The acceptance doesn't come with ticking out the formalities. It comes with shared movement, with consistent efforts, valuing each other, caring for each other. For me, it's not only about my bond with my father-in-law. It's more about the choices we make in our life, to shape our life, to shape our relationships. We have two choices. Even I had two choices. One, I can sit back and be an outsider throughout my life. And the other one, step into the situation with intent, honesty, humor, and childlike spirit. At least I believe for handling every situation in life, you need not to be smartest one. You need not to be the intelligent one. You need to be adaptable, risk taker, or probably open enough to accept the life. And when we accept the life the way it is, when we try to put our heart into it, we not only give life to our life, but also become part of something meaningful. That's it.
Was it an amazing speech?
Yes.
And let's have a big round of applause again. Now we'll observe 1 minute silence for the feedback slips. If you have queries, you have to put the feedback slips to the respective speaker during the break. Okay? So the next speaker is distinguished Toastmaster Lord, whose speech will be evaluated by Toastmaster Tejas. Please welcome Toastmaster Tejas on stage. Toastmaster Tejas is a sports nutrition officer who loves the science of getting fit. He is a team of nutritionists and trainers who help clients achieve their goals, both offline at his gym and online through his platform, Tejas Teaches. So, Toastmaster Tejas, as a health nutritionist, what are the two things you will never advise for parents? As a nutritionist, what are the two things you will never advise for parents? Yeah, this is it's not samosa and gulab
Tea.
jamun. Any guesses, audience?
Lunch and dinner.
Lunch.
हमारे ऑडियंस ही स्मार्ट है, मुझे लगता है जो आज अंदर भूल जाता है.
Good evening, everyone. My target speaker today is going to be giving his level 1 project 3 speech. The purpose of the project is for the member to practice vocal variety and body language to enhance a speech. Timer, please note the timing is 5 to 7 minutes.
Please welcome distinguished Toastmaster. I've already introduced you. So, distinguished Toastmaster on heaven and hell, distinguished Toastmaster.
Theme of the day is puzzles, to puzzle you. And Toastmaster Day is created such a lovely environment for puzzles, riddles, conundrums, right? But it's not only about fun and games. Sometimes a puzzle, a conundrum, a riddle can really make a difference in your life if you think about it. Toastmaster of the Day, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests, let me share a small story for you talking about how a conundrum or a puzzle can change your life. This of course a fictional story, but a very poignant story at the same time. Many years ago, there was a very big kingdom, powerful kingdom somewhere in the country, somewhere in India. And it was ruled by a powerful king. King was known for his courage and for his honesty and integrity, but he was also known to be very, very strict and disciplined with his people. Reflecting the king's own personality, the kingdom was strong, powerful, and huge. And the people were very happy and productive. But the king had one very strange habit, one very strange quirk. And that quirk was, every few days, every now and then, he would suddenly wake up with some kind of question in his head. And then he would torment all the people around him till he got the answer that he wanted. It was like you take our teamwork today and multiply by 1,000. And the courtiers and the people in the kingdom were scared. When would the king come up with another question and harass us? And so it happened one day. The king got up, called all his wise men, all the religious people, everybody into his darbar. We were all waiting, what is the king going to announce, what is the king going to announce today? He says, I have a question that has been tormenting me for a few days and I want the answer. I want to know what is heaven and what is hell. What is heaven and what is hell? Everybody was looking at each other. Another one, what are you going to say? Immediately one of the priests, top priests of the kingdom, he says, my lord, why are you worrying so much? Heaven is where all the gods and the apsaras are, and hell is where all the rakshasas and bad people are there. That is all that it is. The king thought about it and said, no, I don't like this answer. Overthinking like went away. Another courtier wanted to flatter the king. He says, my king, why are you worrying? You are definitely going to go to heaven. You don't have to worry about it. Just think you go to do good deeds and you go to heaven. Hell is only for people who are not very nice. Again, the king was, this answer does not make me happy. And so on and so forth. Every day, people came and they would give him an answer. The king would every day by day, king became more frustrated. He took out his frustration on his people. And everybody was like, oh my God, when will this again? Somebody has to give the answer. One day, a very wise old courtier went up to the king and says, my lord, you have been tormented with this question for a long time and none of us seem to find the answer. But I have one solution. Far away at the end of our kingdom near the mountains lives a wise old man. He's very old and very wise. If nobody can give the answer, it is him that will give you the answer. King says, okay, I've tried everything, might as well try this also. Immediately he calls his soldiers, they get on their horses and they gallop away. They travel across the kingdom for 2 days till they come to the edge of the kingdom where the mountains are. They ask some of the local people,
He said, yes, that wise man lives on that hill, high up, halfway among the mountains. King has to give up his horses, just takes a couple of soldiers and starts climbing the mountain in the heat of the day. He's already been traveling for 2 days, he's tired, he's frustrated, but he wants the answer, so he starts climbing. After almost half a day's climb, he finally reaches the wise old man's home. It's basically just a clearing with a small hut and just an open space and a few things which a poor wise old man uses. King is surprised with the austerity of the place. There's really nothing. He sees the wise old man sitting in the courtyard, meditating quietly. King tells the soldiers, wait there. And then he approaches the wise man. As he approaches the wise man opens his eyes and looks at the king with curiosity. King says, oh wise old man, I am the powerful king of this kingdom. And I am tormented by this question. And I want to ask you that question. You are my last hope. So the wise old man says, the king asks the same question. What is heaven and what is hell? The wise old man sitting thinks about it. And he starts laughing. Oh my God! King is confused. What's so funny? The wise old man says, you stupid fool. Who do you think you are? You are some king. You are so stupid. Don't ask me such stupid questions. You don't have the brains to understand this answer. You stupid fool. Go away. Nobody speaks to the king. King is tired. He is angry. He is furious. He pulls out his sword and says, you know who I am? I am the king of this kingdom. And I am going to kill you for talking to me like this. The wise old man ugly moves. He stops the king. Points to him and says, that is head. King is caught in middle. He's like, what did he say? Then he realizes what the old man is trying to tell him. Puts down his sword, puts it back, thinks about it, and he bows in front of the old man and says, you have given me a very good answer. I am so grateful to you. And the wise old man says, that is heaven. And that is how the king got his answer to one of his riddles. He returned back to his kingdom, not only a great king, but a wiser king, a better king. What is the moral of the story for us? We, in our own way, are looking for heaven and hell. And most of the time we are looking out there. When heaven and hell is within us. Each of us can make a heaven into a hell or a hell into a heaven. We all know people like that. Sometimes we do it ourselves also. But at the end of the day, you are the master of your life. You create the world around you. You create your life. It is completely up to you. Heaven or hell. Toastmasters.
Observe a minute's silence for the feedback steps. Feedback. Are you fine? The next speaker is Toastmaster Rajesh, whose speech will be evaluated by Toastmaster Rajesh. Please welcome Toastmaster Rajesh. Toastmaster Rajesh is a mechanical engineer with around 20 years of experience. He joined Toastmasters to improve leadership skills. His hobbies are listening to music, watching cricket, and movies. The Toastmaster Rajesh, your question is, you see a boat filled with people. Yet there isn't a single person on board.
Shadows? Shadow?
They are not married.
Yes, that's it. All of them.
Huh?
Single person or gold.
Please explain this.
Single person.
Achha, single person.
Oh.
You are married?
Go ahead.
Yes, or single?
I'll come back to reality now. Today, my target speaker, Toastmaster Rajesh, is attempting his level 3 project 1 speech. His pathway is engaging humor. The objective of his speech is to determine his style of humor and apply it in a speech that centers around the central message. That I want to note that time is 5 to 7 minutes. All the best to you.
So our next speaker is Toastmaster Rajesh. So please welcome Toastmaster Rajesh. Toastmaster Rajesh is an entrepreneur, humorist, and he turned a student of how people and buildings work, and also misbehave. He turns serious topic into stories that make people think, laugh, and learn. So Toastmaster Rajesh, your questions. Suppose you and a doctor loves the same girl who is your wife. You go on a leave for 7 days and you left your wife 7 apples. Bye. Toastmaster Rajesh, life isn't over smart building. Life isn't over smart building.
Have you ever entered a building and then discovered or thought, this place knows how I think? You start noticing the small things it does to impress you. Like as you enter, the lights start turning on, as if they have been waiting for you the whole day. When you sit down, the AC adjusts itself as if it could measure your sweat glands. And even before you press the button, the lift appears, which is impressive but also scary. You think, did I hear someone say, "आप बिग बॉस के घर पे हैं, सावधान हो जाइए"? Is someone watching me? No, my friends, this is not Big Boss house. This is the BMS at work. BMS is building management system. Don't worry, it is technical, it is complicated, but I'll make it simple for you. A building management system is the heart of the building, housed in a computer. It is non-unionized, working 24/7, ensuring that things work. So, the BMS monitors everything in a building, right from the air you breathe to the printer you curse every morning. It comes into play when the AC filter is so filled with dust that it qualifies to be called as a desert without a camel. The lights switch off when you move out of a room, and sometimes even when you don't. The air remains fresh without the need for you to break open a window. The machines speak to it. Hey, I am not feeling well, and it arranges for them to be repaired without a breakdown waiting to happen. And to top it all, it can also measure the number of cups of coffee that you take from the machine, which is scary, isn't it? So, why do you need a BMS? Because operating a building without a BMS is akin to running an airport without an air traffic control. Imagine your parking lot has so much of light that a satellite would think it's a new city. The projector in a meeting room has been on since the last meeting took place in 2018. Or your pump has thrown out so much of water that is enough to inundate the Sahara Desert. Or your office is some places as hot as Sahara and some places as cold as Antarctica, and you will blame HR for it. Right? And they get emotional about it. So the BMS prevents all of this. It's the building's way of saying, hey, I am doing my bit to save the planet. What are you doing other than watching videos at midnight? How does the BMS work? So there are 5 components. One is the sensor. The sensor is like your nosy neighbor. So imagine you have a neighbor who gossips the whole day. 5 number wali ladki or 16 number wala ladka bhag ek saath. Okay. But they don't do this kind of malicious gossip. They talk about temperature, dust, smoke. So they would say that in room number 5 the temperature is very hot. So all this data is fed into the system. Then you have the controller, which are like the strict parents who gather all the information that is collected by the sensors, and they try to make sense of it and predict the outcomes. Then you have the actuators, who are actually the kids of the family who have to wake up and do the work. So the parents instruct the kids, go and open the damper, put on or put off this machine, and that is what they do. Then you have the user interface, which is what the facility manager uses. It has lots of graphs and buttons, and they use it and feel powerful. They make good decisions from it. And the last is the internet, the communication protocol, which is basically the hotline, the gossip hotline, with which the different equipments talk to each other. They have very fancy names like BACnet and whatnot. What is the future of BMS? Anything in future means you talk about AI. So using AI, ML and IoT, the prediction capabilities of the BMS improve drastically. So now you have the entire data of the BMS, which is all the information from all the equipment in the building, fed into a digital replica of the building or a digital twin. And then you can have various scenarios. It's like an astrologer who can make the buildings truly. So what would happen? Let's say if everybody wants to use the lift at the same time, or there is a heat wave and your AC breaks down, what happens? And it would come out with scenarios based on which you can take decisions. So next time when you walk into a building and you feel that the building knows you, just don't worry about it. It is only the BMS at work trying to ensure that you are safe and comfortable. It gets on your nerves many times because it acts like a nagging parent or spouse. It acts higher than low because it's trying to do its job, but it has an attitude. However, there is nothing much you can do about it because in the age of smart buildings, it is not you controlling the building, it is the building controlling you. Thank you.
So a minute silence for the feedback slips. Feedback. It's time for a short break. So let's meet again.
Sita is spelled We also give up.
What also SS?
Tissue Kagisan. Tissue Kagisan. Sangeeta.
नहीं
Accepted.
सुंदर रावण नहीं कर रहे हैं
मैंने बोला सीधा ही spell कर दो. My target speaker today is attempting level 3 project 1 from the pathway presentation mastery. The name of the project is persuasive speaking. And the objective of a speech is to give a speech on any topic in any style, but in such a way that persuades the audience about an idea, an action, or something that he has to convey. All the best to my target speaker, Toastmasters.
My next speaker is Toastmasters side. Please welcome Toastmasters side. Toastmasters side, he never read a novel in his life, and the only book he completed are mathematics textbook. So, Toastmasters side, we love math so much. So why is your math book so all this crime?
It is full of problems.
He loves math so much, but why is his math book all this crime?
It is full of problems.
It has many problems.
Yet it was for him. Toastmasters side, go green, Toastmasters side.
Go green.
On one fine day, during my 10th standard morning assembly, there was a speech that started with Mumbai is going to be submerged by 2050. I was furious. Remember, it was morning 7:30. All I wanted to do was a few more minutes of nap. And I was furious. I wanted to shout, how can you say so about my beloved city? 15 years later, I don't know if Mumbai will be submerged, but it does not seem to look good. Let me give you an example. Let's call it a tale of 3 Decembers. December 2014, it's my early college days. I was walking in the Marine Drive with my friends. It was a pleasant walk with charming winds. All you can imagine of what Marine Drive could be. There were talks about climate change, global warming, but it was restricted to environmental class that all of us have to just pass. Now, let's go to 5 years later, December 2019. I just finished my master's. Again, I was hanging out with my friends in the same Marine Drive. It was a tad bit hotter, I would say. But the walks were still charming. The winds were still nice. The talks of climate change, global warming they seem to be a bit more serious. But, it was fun, so why bother? And now, 5 years later, December 2024, I just moved back to Mumbai from Hyderabad. Again hanging out with my friends. I couldn't imagine. There was smog all over around. I could not even see 100 meters away. I had to wear a mask. And all the talks of climate change and global warming are not just a part of environmental science class, but a full-blown PhD thesis. Yes, my friends, it's that right. But is there a way out? There are some examples. Anyone knows of cities that have improved their air quality? Anyone? Any guesses? It's the city of Beijing. It used to be in the news for being the most polluted city in the world, with air quality index reaching 400, 500. That used to be my childhood in my school days. But lately, I've seen that it's not even the list of most polluted cities. In fact, the air quality improved so much that people can walk around without wearing masks, which is usually the case in New Delhi and nowadays even in Mumbai. So what changed? It was a collective initiative of government and citizens, with government restricting industries and regulating industries
and citizens following more of a sustainable use, like using recyclable papers, etc. There are many other examples, and I'm not even counting European or American cities where the air quality is good to begin with. But cities like Mexico City or Cape Town, where the air quality was as bad as what it is in Mumbai now. But they have successfully improved their air quality. Let's not even go to other countries. Let's just think about India. During COVID lockdown, in Delhi, the Himalayas were visible. Yes, there was no factory output, there were no vehicles in the ground, but you could see the Himalayas from Delhi, and that shows a glimpse of hope. Maybe we can improve, maybe our air quality could be better to the point that we won't have another infection. But it's a collective initiative. It's just not us. It's both government and citizens. But that should not stop us from bringing the change. There's a popular Toastmaster quotation that every day you improve your public speaking by just 1%. Over a year time, you improve it by 350 times. So this is also like that. The change is small. Let's start with
Vinay, whose speech will be evaluated by Toastmaster Navi. So please welcome Toastmaster Navi to the field of chair. Shall I If a plane crashes on the border between two countries, where will you go to survive? If a plane crashes on the border between two countries, where will you go to survive?
My target speaker is attempting level 3, project 3, understanding vocal variety from the path dynamic leadership. The purpose of the project is for the member to practice using vocal variety to enhance her speech. Timer, please note the time limit for the speech is 5 to 7 minutes. Back to you,
Please welcome the distinguished Toastmaster Vinay. Let's start with you. Podcast about it. If Joy had a brand ambassador, it would probably be you. So your question is, if you invite ghosts at your home, which room will they avoid? If you invite ghost means room, at your home, which room will they avoid?
I know another thing that when a male host met a female host, what it would be.
Never first, right? Huh? Any guesses already?
Living room.
It's the living room. I think it's the most behind us all this.
I thought host.
It's a scary word.
Ruchi.
BTM Vinay, the crow knows best. The crow knows best. BTM Vinay. Distinguished persons.
Just give me. My dear friends, it is said that you get advices from your seniors or senior people. They give you advice, and the crow gives you noise. So it happened that one day I was sitting in my balcony and sipping a cup of tea, and suddenly a crow landed on my head and he just stole my biscuit. And he went away. My father, who was sitting inside, he started laughing. The crow is much more smarter than you. Now I thought that my father, who's always nagging me, always preaching me, and the crow is always through his guides stealing the breakfast and snacks, would it be a good idea to bring both of them in front and let them fight it out? So, my dear friends, let's invite your father and the crow in this room, especially. And the name of the show is The Crow Knows the Best. Or is it my father? Let's see. So, while it happened that he was resting in heaven, my father's room, suddenly I sent him a message, and then he came down. Papa, see, all my Toastmasters friend.
Hi.
I was sitting in the heaven, and I suddenly feel a heaven asking my son to come down and share the stage with this crow. Come, let's have fun. This is a noisy creature. This is such a noisy creature. It makes so much noise. Papa, he's not noisy. He is actually musical. And you know, who is he? He's the landlord of our balcony. Landlord, I am not the landlord. I am the god or the government. He is such a loud creature. Why do you entertain him? I am not loud. I am musical. Musical? My foot. Do you want to hear my opera? It's known as crow opera. Okay, let's see. Goodness. Oh my goodness, he is such a lousy creator. Definitely, I don't want him in this house. No, Papa. What we'll do is that, let's see who is the best. You are the best or he is the best. Okay? Let's play something. Okay, see, that's the word of the day. Okay? Now, both of you have to pronounce. Your choice. Word of the day is on under drum. See what he says. On under drum. He does not know even that. Okay, let's decipher the phrase of the day. Peace of the person. Peace of the person. I do Friends, do you want this flow in the house?
No.
Yes, no, yes?
No.
No. See, my friend, see, no one wants it in this house. Now, at least father, he brings a smile in front of everybody. Okay? Let's keep him. Let's keep him in this house. My dear friends, we have all such close and creatures or those who are very serious in our life. In Toastmasters, we learn about voice modulation. But when I was rehearsing with them, I realized something big. You don't need to be loud as this pro, or you don't need to be wiser as my father. What you need as a part of Toastmaster or as a part of your life is whatever you say, whatever you speak, it connects with you, it touches your heart, it gives you smiles, you love and laugh. And that's how you learn to bear with this noisiness and the strictness. What do you do?
Seriously think that's the worst way. Then I saw a bit of silence for the big upsets.
Sir, that's screen. If you come near it, it will screen here. The hair, that's what will come.
Sorry?
That's screen. If the hair brushes
Ignore it.
There is really a process to do.
That's what I'm talking about.
Use the hair.
So our next speaker is Toastmaster Dheeraj, who speaks in evaluative with Toastmaster Mumbai. So please welcome Toastmaster Mumbai. Toastmaster Mumbai has more than 8 years of experience in sales and social media marketing, working in banking and broking industry and running social media channels, successfully in personal finance and investment with an 8 degrees financial literacy in India, so people can take their financial decisions wisely. So, your question is, it's a sweet one. If you drop me, I'm sure you can. But give me a smile, I'll smile. Whatever. Mirror.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, dear guests. Today I am going to evaluate speech given by Toastmaster Dheeraj. He is going to deliver level 3 project 3 from Pathway Presentation Mastery. And purpose of this project is to begin developing humorous stories and present a speech on, related to humor. Timer, please note, time is 5 to 7 minutes. All the very best, Toastmaster Dheeraj, and back to Toastmaster.
Please welcome Toastmaster Dheeraj. Toastmaster Dheeraj is an engineer and loves to read. He has joined Toastmasters to improve his communication and socializing skills. This name Dheeraj has no effect on him because he is still working on improving his skills. So, Toastmaster Dheeraj, how can you go 8 days without sleep? How can you go 8 days without sleeping? He's
So that is really that right.
So Toastmaster Dheeraj, the power of patience, Toastmaster.
8 days, no sleep. You sleep at night.
Can anyone tell when a person gets mad? Can anyone tell when a person gets mad?
When he goes to hell.
A person gets mad when that person loses patience. So let me start share with you 2 instances of my life that made me realize the power of patience. Instance 1. My interaction with my first prospective girlfriend. don't feel surprised listening about my girlfriend because I used to look smart during those days. And second, I am speaking about my prospective girlfriend. So we went to a budget-friendly school canteen and started discussing a few things. Being a nerd and nervous on that day, I started discussing about physics subject. She lost her patience when I ordered 8 cups of tea while discussing vector analysis with her. Can you imagine on the first date I was discussing one of the toughest topic of physics, and the surprising fact is that girl was maintaining her patience till 8 cups of tea. Out of sudden I realized that her face is turning red and her cuteness is diminishing. So I changed my focus from her face and found that she is continuously stirring spoon in a glass filled with plain water. I realized that she is not interested in vector analysis. So I started explaining her that why a spoon appears bent inside a plain water with the change of refractive index. She got furious and frustrated. She left me, but before leaving, she said 4-letter sweet word to me. Dumb. On that day I realized one interesting thing, that there is no issue with me. I am completely normal. But that girl don't have patience to learn about physics. I came back and home and I told everything to my friends. And you all know how friends behave. They laughed continuously for 1 hour. And after that they recommended me 3 essential things. First thing, don't go to the school canteen please. Figure out a good restaurant nearby having good ambience. Second thing, don't speak about science and maths. Please. And lastly, don't order tea. I took their advice very sincerely and seriously and I went into an action mode. I searched all the restaurants and I figured out a good restaurant having good ambience. And I marked up every details about the ambience of that restaurant so that next time when I meet the next prospective girlfriend, I will speak about those ambience. And as a backup plan, I also learned about nature and humanity. So that in case I need to change the topic, I have content ready. So I took my second prospective girlfriend to the same restaurant having good ambience. And when I was entering the restaurant, I could recollect every details I got about that ambience of that restaurant. I was feeling very confident. We sat down and this time I ordered coffee. And the way I ordered the coffee, you all can gauge my level of preparation. I ordered 20 ice caramel macchiato with almond milk and fresh kind of espresso. Even the waiter didn't know what I am ordering. But looking at my situation, he figured out and brought 1 set of coffee for us. Now we sat down and we started discussing and I was looking at her, she was looking at me and she was smiling. She was really gorgeous. Beautiful eyes, beautiful smile. And in this process of appreciating her beauty, I forgot everything. Even my backup failed. I was completely blank. I could not recollect anything. And at this moment I want to tell you, that situation, that fear was more powerful than the fear of public speaking. And all guys will relate with it and most of them are laughing. So I realized that if I will keep looking at her, I will not be able to recollect whatever I have learned about ambience, nature and humanity. So I decided that I will not look down. When I looked down, I found that coffee. 20 ice caramel macchiato, almond milk and fresh kind of espresso. But I never ordered that coffee. And most important, I never tasted that coffee. How I will speak on about that coffee? So I figured out that this coffee is having a lot of foam. So I told her, do you think they have Nirma powder to this coffee? Because it's having a lot of foam. Her smile disappeared. And in a dead tone she said, then order cold drink. I realized my mistake. I quickly ordered 2 sets of cold drink. And when she was about to drink that cold drink, I don't know from where this point came to me, and I told her, do you know cold drinks are made up of toilet cleaner? There was 1 minute of silence, not for feedback. But she was calculating something, and after 1 minute, I could feel the splash of cold drink. I could realize its coldness. She left me. She left me because she lacked patience. And both of my girlfriends regret that decision of leaving me. Leaving such a handsome boyfriend, entertaining boyfriend. And it's been more than 10 years. Guys, it's been more than 10 years, but both of them are not able to forget me. Every night they message me and say, Dheeraj, please don't message me. Friends, my parents kept my name Dheeraj not because I am having a lot of patience, but because to warn the people handling with me and dealing with me that you need to have patience. Like all of you are listening my speech from last 5 minutes. Now, whatever I told is having more resemblance with the real life. Now come back to the reality. Friends, in this world of instant coffee, instant delivery, instant noodle, instant message, we have forget the importance of patience. We have forget the importance of time. Every good thing, every big achievement takes time, takes patience. A relationship to mature needs patience. A skill to sharpen needs time, which requires patience. To become a good speaker, you need a lot of practice, a lot of hard work, which again requires patience. So whenever life challenges you, whenever things comes which are not in your way, in what you have thought of, don't lose your patience, because patience is not a weakness, it's a strength under control. So the next time when life tests you, be patient. Thank you. Over to the
was a hilarious speech. Please, we'll observe a minute's silence for the feedback. Now let's call upon the timer for today's meeting, Toastmaster Hydras, to present the timely report of all the participants. Please welcome Harshit.
Pradeep, 6 minutes 26 seconds. Toastmaster Navi, 7 minutes 30 seconds. Toastmaster Ruchini, 7 minutes 24 seconds. BTN Ron, 7 minutes 15 seconds. Toastmaster Rajesh, 7 minutes 7 seconds. Toastmaster Sai, 5 minutes 2 seconds. Toastmaster Vinay, 7 minutes. Toastmaster Dheeraj, 7 minutes 28 seconds.
Brilliant, Alka.
Chairman is qualified. Next, I will move to it's time for another segment of our meeting. But please welcome Toastmaster Sangeeta Shruti, who will be leading the general evaluation section. Please welcome her to the giving of the floor.
Our Toastmaster of the day deserves a bigger applause. well, though I sound like Amitabh Bachchan, I'm Sangeeta Shetty.
Spell it please.
Breakfast of champions, says Toastmasters. Toastmasters is a forum that not only teaches you to give and receive feedback gracefully, it also teaches you to look at yourself through the mirror of that feedback. So, let us begin this session of feedback. First, we had a long list of speeches. We will do a long list of evaluations. 3 segments to the general evaluation section. One is the evaluators report, who have been dedicatedly assigned to every speaker, so they've been listening and they will give you evaluation. Second part is we will listen to the tag team, who for the good part of today have been listening to us. So now it's their chance to tell us what they've heard. The third part will be the general evaluators report or my report on the overall thing. Before we get started on the evaluations, a little evaluation I like to do. Who was our first speaker for the day?
Believe.
What did he talk about? What do you remember about his speech?
His angels. Angels.
Three angels in his life. Okay. So there has been retention of the speech. Good job, Toastmaster Pradeep. I will call on Toastmaster Praveen to evaluate his speech. DP Education in the club. No applause.
Okay. Challenges are a way for us to modify the way we think. Thanks a lot for that inspiring page that you have. I like 3 things in your speech. One was that was a nice way to use the angels in your life to introduce yourself, because it allowed you to express your appreciation towards those angels also. The next is that you had a good structure, right? At the start, you asked a question like who are the angels in your life, right? And as we all have them, right? So that helped to capture the attention of the audience, and it also generated interest. Then afterwards you had your main speech about and at the end you also had a conclusion, right? How you fight back is what is important. Thirdly, it takes a lot of courage to speak so frankly about your own life. So, kudos to you for that. I do have some government details which will help you to improve your speech. So the conclusion I thought was a bit abrupt, right? What I would have expected to hear what all you have learned from the angels in your life, and how they have shaped you as a person. And the next is that as your pathway
is of engaging humor. Like so, you would make an attempt to introduce the humor in your speech. Like whatever may be the content, you should make an attempt to introduce humor in your speech. So to conclude, a nice way you use the intelligence in your life. Your speech had a good structure. Your conclusion needs some improvement, and you should make an attempt to improve humor in your speech. So that's all I have. What do you?
Again, second speaker today was Toastmaster Libby. What do you remember about her speech?
Punching.
Don't blame HR.
Punching bag.
Don't blame HR.
Punching bag of
Punching bag, but don't blame HR. I'm not going to go further. To evaluate Toastmaster Libby's speech, we have distinguished Toastmaster Ron William.
Good evening again. Good evening. I'm privileged to evaluate the speech by Toastmaster Libby. Now, I have a conundrum for all of you today. In any organization besides your boss, who is the most hated person, but at the same time the most indispensable person in the organization? Any guesses? HR. And Libby conveyed that idea to us in a beautiful, humorous, full of anecdote speech that kind of conveyed the difficulty of what being in HR is. At the same time, in a very positive and humorous way. So good, full marks to Libby. It was a very nice, very interesting speech. Few things which I noticed about the speech which I really commend you for. First of all, you came on stage, you were very positive, your body language was open, you were open to the audience, you had great eye contact, and you really started delivering in a very positive manner. So full marks to you on body language, eye contact, etc. So you have the basics set very well. Your speech was also peppered with a lot of nice phrases like HR is damage control with a smile, and you use somewhere apps, comparing apps like Tinder and Zomato, was it to functions of the HR. So it was also innovative in the way you use language, ideas, similes, metaphors. So throughout the speech it was quite interesting. Gentle humor was sprinkled throughout the speech. It was not laugh out loud humor, but it was giggle humor, and everybody kind of went with the flow and enjoyed that humor. And the most important thing, and which I feel is you conveyed how difficult your job really is in HR in real terms also. At the same time, not making it outright kind of negative. So very good job on that. Few things which I can suggest you to improve your speech going ahead, speeches going ahead. First of all, I found that the audience interaction was a bit missing. This was a subject and a topic which could have added to a lot of audience interaction in terms of questions or comments from the audience. Maybe add a sprinkle of that also in the next speech. Also, I found the vocal variety to be a little straight, and there was no variation to vocal variety or the pace of speaking. Sometimes you slow down speaking, sometimes you speed up. That kind of adds variety to the speech. So maybe that's something you can look at. Everything was kind of on the same level when delivered. Also, you could think about using some dialogues in the speech because the material, maybe you talk to somebody in the interview, you would have shared the interview dialogue. He said this, I said this, then he said that. Something like that would have added more variety to the speech instead of a simple monologue. Lastly, in terms of content, the speech in the project is writing a speech with a purpose. So although it is a good speech, and I could kind of understand the purpose that you wanted to convey what HR is about, it was never overtly kind of said. So for my suggestion is, whenever anyone is giving a speech, always make sure what your purpose is very clear. In Toastmasters, we have a saying, I hope I get it right. It's like, when you start your speech, tell them what you're going to tell them. Then in the middle of the speech, tell them what you were supposed to tell them. And end of the speech, tell them what you told them. So at every point in your speech, you have to make sure that your purpose is very clear with the audience. What are you on stage for? What do you want to convey? It can be simply in one phrase, or it could be more. But be very clear what you want the audience to take away. What is the takeaway? What is the audience purpose? What is the purpose of the speech in vis-a-vis the audience? In that terms of content, that is because right, everybody has to guess what you actually wanted to convey. Overall, a fantastic speech. I want to see you more on stage. You're going from strength to strength. Your confidence is going up. I love the speeches you're giving. Please come on stage more often. We'd love to hear from you. Please.
Animation worthy of a distinguished Toastmaster. Let us go on. And who was the next speaker? Ruchi. Yes. We have two Ruchis. What do you remember about her speech? Audience.
Cheers.
Toastmasters. There's a hush descended in the room. Wake up everyone. Please welcome our next evaluator, Toastmaster Ishwar. Give me an applause.
I'm going to be reading something out of my diary. First impressions are not for life, and a change comes with constant efforts and consistency. You've got to be adaptable, you've got to be risk-taker, and open to experiences. I'm sure I've paraphrased this, but this is what Ruchi, Toastmaster Ruchi tried to convey through her speech. This was the major takeaway. And I loved your speech. Now these words that were paraphrased by me, I'm certain these were also the words that we ought to live by. These are certain virtues that we ought to live by, because life throws a curveball at you no matter what. And I love the fact that your speech encapsulated it. Now there were three particular aspects that were speckled throughout the speech that I wish to address and throw a bit of light on. The first one being humor. And it's the way humor was conveyed through the speech. You did that with a deadpan face, a poker face that really made it very unexpected. At the beginning, it seemed like a very solemn and sincere speech, but the fact that you diverted from that and you gave a bit of humor throughout by asking questions, what do you think my father-in-law would have said? And then he went on to say, just bring a glass for me as well. And these things really broke the ice and brought in a bit of connection with the audience. And I really liked that about the speech. The second one being conflicts. At every step of the way, the characters that was either you or your father-in-law, or for that matter even your husband, were faced with a bunch of conflicts throughout. So there were conundrums throughout the speech. And I felt that those were like pieces of puzzles placed throughout that you had to fix, right? And that gave a purpose to your speech. And that really made the speech very engaging. There were conflicts that were also met with a sense of solution. And this is the third thing that I felt that I really liked about your speech. Because by the end, it was really heartwarming. I loved how you said when you moved to Bombay, the city of Bombay, there was a change, a significant change between the relationship dynamic between you and your father-in-law, because you started calling your father Papa. And I really liked that. And there were several other aspects within the speech that showed that there were solutions at the end. There's light at the end of a dark tunnel. And there are three recommendations that I felt you can be using in your future speeches. The first one being that the vocal modulation could be a little better. Now I was seated at the very end, and I did that on purpose because I wanted to see whether I could hear it properly. I believe maybe that was a bit of a lacking in your speech, and maybe that is something that you can work on, and that would really make the speech even more interactive and engaging for anyone who's seated in any part of the room. And the second one being that you could have paced and spaced the speech in a better way. I felt the speech had a very monotone, not just in terms of voice, but it was very flat. So that maybe could have given a bit of variety throughout the speech. And the third one being the usage of your gestures and also usage of the stage. It's all yours, make it yours, and that would just make your speech go to the next step. All in all the best for you and your future speeches. It was wonderful.
I've been hearing Toastmaster Like he tells the speaker they're going from strength to strength, I will say Toastmaster Ishwar is going from strength to strength as an evaluator. And the next speech is from DTM Ron. What do we remember? I remember the whole speech. How many of us remember something from that speech? Please rise. Rise. Stand up. How many of us remember something from the speech?
Everything.
Something from the speech.
Yes, I remember those speeches.
Very good. People who don't remember anything from that speech, can you please rise? People who don't remember, DTM Ron, you requested to close your eyes. People who don't remember anything from the speech, no one. The whole purpose of this was to make sure everybody wakes up, because I heard a lot of my noon when I was sitting there and evaluations were doing. To evaluate distinguished Toastmaster Ron, I call up Toastmaster Tejas. Why are they people play on this?
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
What is heaven? What is hell? I think DTM Ron has given us the best answer possible. In the context of today's speech objectives, which is trying to use vocal variety and body language, I will try to give a close answer to the speech objective itself. If for the next 2 to 3 minutes I continue to speak in this boring and monotonous voice, it will be hell for you. What would be heaven? I don't need to give an example, because DTM Ron already gave an example with his speech. What are some things that I really liked about the speech? A very well structured speech, had an opening, body, a close, a beautiful picture or a beautiful painting is done by these 3 things for a speech. Vocal variety and body language is just like a missing piece of the puzzle, which ensures that everything feels complete. How was vocal variety and body language used? One example is when around 30 seconds into the speech, DTM Ron mentions the king was powerful. He actually raises his voice and says the king was mighty and powerful. Brings about a little more confidence and congruence in what he's saying. He also uses vocal variety towards the end when he's saying that the king becomes angry. He actually says it, king is angry, and you can feel it. How was he using body language? He had great uses of travel till the edge, reach the mountains. His entire speech was filled with such uses of amazing vocal variety and body language. All throughout the speech, in fact, there was another part as he was building his speech. One of the best things I like is if the speech itself can get the audience to say the takeaway. And he actually did that when the audience had the words heaven in their mouth to his final question. With this amazing speech, I was put in a conundrum as to what can be improved. 2 minor things. One is when Ron mentioned that people were doing yoga and meditating. He could have actually lowered his voice a bit more, said that people were doing yoga and meditated. Bring about that calm and peace. Second thing, what I feel from a vocal variety point of view is, towards the end, the man says, he says that I am extremely angry. What I found in that sentence was, the I am was quiet and the angry was loud. But if you are saying a dialogue where you are actually angry, the whole sentence should be in anger. I am angry, the entire sentence should be loud, not just I am and then angry becomes louder. That was one thing, one place where I felt vocal variety could have been better. And to challenge you, one small thing is, you can try to find a few more instances where vocal variety could be integrated. Like when the courtiers were asking, what is the answer? The courtiers could be whispering to each other, what is the answer to this question? Examples like these where you can try to integrate a few more examples of vocal variety and body language. To sum up, really good use of vocal variety and body language. Try to integrate a few more cases of these. And finally, thank you for bringing some heavenly learning and calm in this Toastmasters meeting.
Next speech was by Rajesh. What do you remember?
EMS.
And now what was the evaluator supposed to evaluate, him or BMS? BMS. Okay, to evaluate Toastmaster Rajesh, I will call on Toastmaster Dharmesh.
Today, Toastmaster Rajesh gave us a glimpse of the future of architecture, where the building thinks and acts accordingly. And it even motivated the projector. He started thinking and acting when every speaker came. Every building, the strength of every building lies in the pillars. And there were 3 pillars which added strength to your speech. The first one was the information. I think the concept of BMS, that is building management system, is quite new. And for me, it was very informative. I learned a lot of things, and maybe in future I'll think about that. Second thing is the relative comparisons that we made. They were weird but still relative, and we could understand. Like for example, comparing sensors to neighbors, comparing controllers to parents, and comparing actuators to kids. What it did is that it made the very complicated technical topic interesting and engaging. And third was obviously, third pillar was the humor that you brought throughout your speech. It was quite entertaining, and again the use of humor, it ensured that people were entertained throughout the speech. The most important style that you used in your humor was comparison and everyday observation examples. So I think this is your style of humor that you use. Everyday comparison and observation of everyday examples. So this is the style that we use, and with that I can say that the purpose or objective of your speech is achieved. Now every building, in order to stay stronger for a longer period of time, needs maintenance. So I will give you 2 maintenance or polishing points which will make an everlasting impact on the audience. First one is that you use these examples of say neighbors for sensors, parents and kids. So if you can give a live example of how the BMS system works, for example the door is open, and how these sensors and controllers and actuators in terms of neighbors, kids and parents, how they work to actually control the system. That we have added melodrama. There was a lot of scope of melodrama in that. If you have used that, it would have been a great thing. And second is that there should have been a strong message. Like for example, this entire system is there to have to save power. So if you had emphasized at the end that if you want to save power, you use the system and around that, it would have been a great thing. So what I would like to say, a good entertaining speech with 3 strong pillars of information, strong, good comparisons and humor, a little bit of polishing in adding a melodramatic examples, and a good strong conclusion would have given speech on next level. So I would request you to come more and more on stage and keep motivating and entertaining us. Thank you.
Our next speaker was Sai Pravesh.
Sai.
The next
Govind.
evaluator is Now what do you remember?
Govind.
Govind.
Climate change.
Dress or a speech?
Mumbai. Mumbai is flooded.
Climate change.
Okay. Something retained by the audience. Good. Evaluator for Toastmaster Sai speech is Toastmaster Sangeeta Shruti. Toastmaster Sai, your speech was, the objective of your speech was to persuade the audience. To that end, you started with a shocker, telling us about Mumbai getting submerged, about waste disposal, about all the infrastructure problems in Mumbai. Few things I loved about your speech was your energy on stage. You were alive, you were forceful, and your message reached the last person sitting there. You had facts and figures, you had timelines, so that you could get your message to us in a very logical manner. Few things that I really loved about your speech was also that though you were standing in one place, your body language was not static. You had expressions, you had hand movements, which you were trying to connect with the audience forcefully. Few recommendations I have for you is, actually I have a list of recommendations, but then I realized all these recommendations are towards the same purpose. When you persuade someone, the part of your brain that takes action is always motivated by emotion, not by just facts. And that was something I found a little missing in your speech. You weren't connecting anyone with an emotion. There was no emotional hook. If you could use your voice, if you could use your body language, pause, content, anything and everything to put that emotional hook, you would have persuaded. You had a lot of solutions for us, like carrying your own bags, not using plastic bags, using the jute bags given at Toastmaster events. That's my suggestion. And so many different ideas. Maybe sticking to one and using that emotionally could have persuaded the audience better. Secondly, I felt when it came to the speech structure, it went very well to the mid part, but the end was a little abrupt. There were a couple of solutions and there was an end. That could have been worked on and maybe would have been more persuasive. Now for a speaker of your caliber, I have a challenge for you, Toastmasters. This was a speech to persuade. You could have had more audience interaction, or you could have used a shocker. Something that would disturb the audience, pull them out of their comfort zone. So this is my challenge to you. Overall, a speech with a lot of research, facts, fairly well structured, delivered with a lot of energy on stage, a little attention to using tools of speechcraft to evoke emotion, little audience interaction or shocker, and you will be a speaker we will look forward to listening to more now that we don't do now. More part. Next speaker was distinguished Toastmaster Vinay. What do we remember? Bravo. To evaluate distinguished Toastmaster Vinay's speech, I call on Club President Toastmaster Navi.
Good evening once again. I seem to be on the stage quite a bit for this particular meeting. I've always associated crows with horror movies, thanks to all the Hollywood movies that I've seen. Now, Vinay's crow has put me in a conundrum. So, are crows scary or not? I don't know. The judgment is still on. Now, coming to Vinay's speech, come performance. First and foremost, he's not here, but I would like to commend Vinay on his risk-taking ability to take up something as creative and as complex as ventriloquism on stage. It's obvious he's amateur, but still he took that risk. He stood up on stage and he did that. So that is really commendable. And not just, ventriloquism with one puppet is difficult enough. He's tried it with two. So that risk-taking, great job there. Second is the technical skill that is required to do a ventriloquism act. So there are two things that I looked at. One was voice differentiation and lip control. Voice differentiation was pretty clear for an amateur, and so good job there. In terms of lip control, I'd say it was a good attempt, and he did a fairly decent job at that. The third thing that I noticed about his performance was the audience engagement. Now obviously when you have two puppets on stage and when you come with all those props, the audience is already engaged. So good job there. And also he used a lot of humor with that singing competition that he had with the crow and his father. Humor is also another skill, another tool that audience engagement. So great job there. In terms of objective of the speech, I would say he achieved the objective of the speech somewhat partially. There was enough since the purpose was to have vocal variety. Yes, there was quite a bit of vocal variety spread throughout the speech. I do have some commendations for the speaker. First one is the expression and characterization of the two characters that he introduced on stage. Though it started off with clear expressions, I thought somewhere to the middle of the speech the characterization got muddled, their dialogues were muddled. It became a little unclear as to which character was saying what. I think probably he got tired after all that. So that kind of added to the confusion. Secondly, the structure. Now, any speech needs to have an opening, body, and conclusion. Though there was an opening in Vinay's speech, it was a little confusing. I wasn't quite sure if his father was alive when he apparently called his father from heaven. So, I don't know, I thought the opening was a little confusing. It wasn't very clear. Also, where he's heading with the speech. Even the body was similar. There was a lot of comedy in the body. But what was happening, like Toastmaster Ron mentioned, where is the speech going? So that was a conundrum for me as well. And all in all, great risk, great complexity, great creativity, just a little more, maybe a little more practice with his expressions and characterizations, and a little more emphasis on the structure of what it is that he is actually trying to convey. And I'm sure Vinay has lots more to offer to us.
Unconventional speech, difficult to evaluate. Great job by our president. Next speech. You should have had a girlfriend like this. What else do we remember? Interactive and text.
Vector analysis.
Coffee is made of
ice caramel.
I am starting to understand people enjoy others' misery in this life. This is a speech people have remembered the most.
last month.
To evaluate Toastmaster Dheeraj, let me call on Toastmaster Amruta. We evaluate the Toastmaster.
My parents named me Dheeraj because people requires patience to deal with me. I trust it. I completely trust it. That part proved me in your speech. There are three things which I really liked in your speech. First is storytelling part. The descriptive language you use. She has, beautiful smile, beautiful eyes, and unsweet cup of coffee, a cup of tea, everything. You narrated beautifully. Both the incident, I really liked it. Second is humor. You have a flavor, you have a surprise element in your speech, and that showed a good purposeful humor in your speech. When you told all of us, both the girlfriends message me in the night every day. Don't message me, Dheeraj. That was a flip in your speech. Then surprise element. Cold drink has, toilet cleaner. So I really like that part. And you made the project objective because of that. Your, purposeful humor. Third one was a powerful message. If you want to achieve anything in life, you require patience. And he delivered beautifully with humor, which is way more difficult than a normal speech. Apart from that, highlight for me was a self-deprecating humor you use. You made fun of your own flaws that showed you are the most secure person in the room. And I really liked it. I believe if you are going to implement two of my recommendations, this speech will be really great. First is stage presence. If you are going to share two incidents, stand here for one incident, delivered it, because you use hand gestures, facial expression, everything. Then for the second, instead of roaming around, use off stage, and then for the message, you can in the center of the stage and
audience excitement throughout your speech. People were enjoying your speech so much. You got audience laughter throughout your speech, and then the moment you tell, this is fictional, this is not true, that kills somewhere, audience excitement. You don't need to tell them. Just go with the flow and end your message, end your speech with a message itself. Overall, your speech has excellent stories, good usage of humor, and the message was powerful. Just work on the stage presence and maintain audience excitement through mystery. And like your name says, Dheeraj, with so much of Dheeraj, you will become a great speaker one day. All the very best.
One of our champion evaluators. That brings us to the end of all our speeches and evaluations. Now, yes, my friends, time. People who have been listening to us for 2.5 hours now get to talk. Timer, Toastmaster Harshit, in great hurry. Please give us your timer.
Toastmaster Praveen, 3 minutes 20 seconds. BPM Ron, 3 minutes 18 seconds. Toastmaster Ishwar, 3 minutes 26 seconds. Toastmaster Tejas, 3 minutes 22 seconds. Toastmaster Dharmesh, 3 minutes. Toastmaster Sai, 2 minutes 49 seconds. Toastmaster Libby, 3 minutes 29 seconds. And Toastmaster Amrita, 2 minutes 42 seconds. You are qualified.
I thought they would run away before I ran. Okay. Now to the person who's been listening to all your hours and hours and has been really impatient the last couple of evaluations. See? He's our counter for the day. Toastmaster Yashwant. What do you?
Here's my report. Toastmaster Pradeep used un 3 times, but 2 times. Lot of hours, 3 short pauses, and used I 2 times. Libby used lot of ones, 1 but, 1 so. Lot of hours, 1 hours, 1 short pause. Uchinegi used 4 runs, 3 buts, 3 hours, 1 2 short pauses. Uchi was flawless. Long used and once or 2 times, 2 short pauses. Rajesh used 1 and 3 hours, lot of short pauses. Sai used and once, but once, so once, once, 2 short pauses. Vinay used and once, but once, 1 short pause. Repeated less once. Harshit used 1 short pause. Sangeeta Stuti, you are flawless. And Dheeraj was flawless. Praveen used 1 and 2 hours, repeated those and then. Ishwar used 1 and 2 words, 1 so, 1 ha, 1 Tejas used 1 ha, 1 short pause. Dharmesh used 2 ones, lot of hours, 1 Amrita used once. Thank you.
The last piece of the puzzle is our grammarian.
I'm writing really using case of the puzzle.
That was the whole objective because I have not used conundrum. Over to you.
No So the word of the day was conundrum, and it was used by Ruchi. Divi used it 3 times, Ron used it 4 times, Vinay used it 2 times, Ishwar used it, and Tejas used the word of the day, and Shamita used it. Phrase of the day was used by Ruchi. Vinay used it 3 times, thanks to the crow and his father. Ishwar used it, Tejas used it, and Sanita used the phrase of the day, which was piece of the puzzle. Improper usage, they were not year down that, could be year after that. Supporting people could be supportive people. Sometime later could be sometime later. Undecisive should be indecisive. Smooth on me should be smooth for me. Worth my while should be worthwhile. Come out with should be come up with. Gives you a smile could be makes you smile. And out of a sudden could be all of a sudden. There were a lot of quotes, thoughts, words used during this meeting. Maybe used vividly. One phrase I like was damage control with a smile. Amidst all the chaos. Pradeep used pious occasion, empathy, financial crunch. Ruchi used obligation, all-time high, keen, goofy. Amrita used self-deprecating humor, phrase. Ron used a lot of words, poignant, quirk, torment, flatter, galloping away, austerity, overt, and also during his evaluation he used lol, laugh out loud humor versus giggle humor to show comparison, which was great. Rajesh used akin to, inundate, malicious, higher than thou was a phrase that was used. Sai used glimpse of hope and used the word compounds. They just used congruence. Dharmesh used glimpse of the future. Dheeraj used prospective girlfriend, which is a phrase. Ambience, gauge, resemblance. And Ishwar used light throws a curveball, which was a great phrase. Encapsulates, broke the ice. And during his evaluation, he used a phrase paced and spaced to demonstrate how the speech went, which was a great usage.
Coming to the last part of the GE session, which is my report of the meeting. Oh, we have a quiz master. Tells me I missed too many meetings and lost the change in our format. So we have a quiz master today, Toastmaster Isha, who's the only board player today who sat in her seat till I have invited her on stage. Huge applause for that.
So I have chocolates, but please, before once I ask the question, raise your hand and answer. First, we go with the easy one. In Pradeep's speech, who was the first angel in his life? Father. Like a sticker. Thank you. In Ron's speech, after the wise old man started laughing and calling him a fool, what did the king do?
Remove this sword.
Get the sword, yes. Whatever we call it as.
Took it out and
Took it out.
During Sai's speech, he said during COVID you could see what in Delhi. Correct. In his speech, he mentioned that when he was out with his prospective girlfriend, he ordered a coffee. If anybody is new to coffee,
Venti ice caramel macchiato with almond milk and sugar.
Wow.
I was thinking I will make someone order this.
okay, last question.
So lots of sweet later little spice with the general evaluators report. First things first, we started the meeting at 5 p.m. No big deal, but let us try and not go down that slippery slope. Yeah, President giving me looks, okay, accepted. Going on to our Sergeant at Arms, experienced Toastmaster, gave a nice introduction to our presiding officer, something I would like us to do whenever we are taking up Sergeant at Arms role, whether it's a contest, conference, to make sure we introduce the next speaker, just like DTM Vinay did today. Our presiding officer started with, we have all these YouTube videos and you have all these articles telling you the art of saying no. And today our presiding officer spoke to us about the importance of saying yes and how every yes will lead you to your growth. Very nice perspective. If you ask me, very nice plug-in for the area admission contest coming into. But nice perspective. Very nice way of making us grow in the Toastmaster community. Great start. Thank you, presiding officer. Our Toastmaster of the day. Fun activity. She got us moving left and right, and people who can't figure out left and right or moving in any direction, they felt like moving. Great fun activity, got us all intrigued and going. And yes, it was confusing because it was supposed to be confusing because she was trying to puzzle us. Good job done. Throughout the meeting, she's sprinkled puzzles and humor and had people do all kinds of things. Of course, nobody could spell my name, but that's a different issue. She got us all laughing and getting engaged. Great job, especially for a speech marathon. It was very difficult to keep the audience engaged and very important at the same time. Delicately and beautifully managed by our Toastmasters. All evaluators have done their jobs superbly. All speakers know what they have received as evaluation. Going on to our tag team. I believe our timer Toastmaster Harshit has taken up a role for the first time, or the timer role for the first time. Timer role for the first time. First step, take courage, and I applaud you for that. Our R counter. Toastmaster Yashwa, very active, bubbly R counter. Detailed report, had an eye on everybody. Kudos to you, great job. Before I go ahead, a general observation about our tag team. Everybody today made sure they spoke the script. Whether the innovator did not innovate, different story. But they explained their role properly as per their script. Applause to them, please. Our grammarian, Toastmaster Kanjika. Nice word of the day which gelled with the theme, conundrum. Phrase of the day gelled with the theme. Nice observation, and she had an eye on everything everybody used. Great job done. Toastmaster Isha had to go on a list of speeches because today we had a speech marathon. She picked out a lot of things, a lot of interesting things, and what I'm more surprised is so many of us even listened, and that every question of us got an answer. So kudos to our quiz master and to our attentive tutors. Few observations I have, general in nature, so that all of us can grow in our journey whenever we take up a role. Introducing someone on stage is a delicate art. The idea of introduction is you build up and then you take the person's name so that the person comes up. You build anticipation. You say someone who's been a Toastmaster for 30 years, someone instrumental in chartering Agnel Toastmasters Club, a speaker people look forward to. A feared evaluator, not because he's cruel, but he's on the spot. A mentor to many. A Toastmaster known to live the spirit of Toastmasters. Please welcome on stage distinguished Toastmaster Ron Billy. And that builds an entry for him. Okay, introduction. You choose an example. You are credit me with imagination. When you call someone on stage, you immediately hand over the stage and move away. The person should not be standing and we should not be speaking. That is a wrong way to invite someone on stage. In many cultures, that is considered highly disrespectful. So I would recommend when you introduce someone, say the name of the person last. Do all the build-up, give the person's name last. As soon as, because the minute you say a person's name, like even before I said Toastmaster Yashwant, I said our counter, he was up and walking. So you see, you say the name last so that the person can come on stage, you shake hands, walk up. That is how we give an introduction, which is what I'm going to recommend to all of us to follow whenever we take up any role. Small nuances, unfortunately I'm a bottom-up thinker, so devil in the detail is whenever we have an icebreaker speech. We explain to the audience why we stand up and applaud, especially for new Toastmasters. Yes, Toastmasters has a culture of applauding beginnings, of applauding courage, or applauding first timers. That is why we stand up and applaud an icebreaker speech. Not because the person is Mohammad Khatani, but because that was, even Mohammad Khatani gave an icebreaker speech one day. So that is why we applaud. So those small things which were nuances could have been used. Again, one thing that I would recommend to all evaluators is let us not name the speaker when we come to give the objective, because the keyboard is going to introduce the speaker and we are bursting his bubble. So let us just talk about the pathway or whatever, not name the speaker, just say target speaker and go on evaluation. Small nitpicky points here and there, otherwise great meeting, ran on time, lot of speeches, but all of us are still awake and alert. That itself tells us about the quality of an Agnel Toastmasters club meeting. With that, I hand it over to our very puzzling Toastmaster of the day, Toastmasters.
Just time to close our meeting. So before we wrap up, let's play a little word game, a quick one. Okay? So when I say up, you have to sit down. When I say down, you stand. Just the reverse. Like a bottle, this is just moving. Got it? Yeah. Again, bottle is a quick one. Okay? Your right face a bit down. Look up. Look up. Not just at the ceiling, but there are the possibilities of getting up high. What? Just in case something surprising falls down. Sometimes you go up, sometimes you go down. Sometimes we are bobbing up and down. Wondering the limited stuff. Every year teaches you to stand up on your feet. And every now reminds you that there's always, okay, there's always a chance. So bounce back up. So if you're not sure to the up, whether you're up, down, or somewhere in between, bounce up, bounce down. And now, smile, because that's exactly what the voting tools have also been shared. Request you all to please cast your vote. And those who don't have the voting.
All the best to you. I got my phone.
Now I'd like to call upon the stage our presiding officer, our president, Toastmasters.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ruchi, for that very entertaining session. We don't know what is up, what is down, and what is sideways right now. So, like Ruchi announced, the link for the polling has been shared in our group, and I believe the guests have been given the QR codes. Has everybody completed their voting? And once you are done with Once we are done with the meeting, I request everybody who has taken pens, please do return. Please do return the pens. And now this is for the members. There is another link that has been shared in our group that is to mark your attendance for this meeting. Please ensure that you mark your attendance as well. So there are two links shared. One is for the poll and the other is for the attendance. Please be mindful of what you are filling up. Couple of announcements. We have our area contest on 2nd of November. We have 4 of our members who would be competing at the area contest. Let's all try and keep 2nd of November free so that we can go and cheer them up. That's Vidya, Shine, Parita and Vidya. So 3 of them are going to be competing. Let's all go and be cheerleaders for them on 2nd of November, which is a Sunday. The venue has not yet been announced. It would be somewhere in Navi, Mumbai itself. Right? And January 17th is going to be our 400th meeting. Yeah? Jan again is the month that we were chartered. We are at 12 years old. We are a 12-year-old club, and on 17th of Jan is our 400th meeting. And Toastmasters Shine, so obviously it's a milestone meeting, we're going to have a celebration, and Toastmasters Shine has agreed to be convener for the event. We would soon be releasing nominations, asking for people to nominate themselves to be part of the organizing committee. I would request all members to heartily participate in organizing a great 400th meeting. Our next meeting is on 1st of November. Right? That's again the first Saturday of next month. I'm out of announcements. On that note, I would like to speak to our guests and ask for feedback. Just a quick 20-second feedback of what you thought about the meeting, good, bad, ugly, or well.
मैंने तो फर्स्ट टाइम अटेंड किया नहीं, बट किस तरह से उसको प्रेजेंट करना है और किस तरह से अपने को ग्रुप में ऐड करना है, तो बहुत अच्छे से प्रेजेंट किया है। आसपास में जो जिसका थीम पे चला हुआ वो अपना धीरज का, जो मतलब एनर्जी लेवल का स्पीच था, बहुत अच्छा लगा।
Thank you, Dheeraj.
Good evening all. Today I really enjoyed the session, especially the way we listened to speech and how we use the two presenters have stand out in this Dheeraj and Chima, and I really enjoyed it.
Hello everyone, I'm Gauri Shankar. This is the first time I'm attending Toastmasters session. Very interesting and very knowledgeable also. And I'm looking forward to how to prepare myself with regard to the speeches and all. And looking forward to.
So I'm hoping you will be Toastmaster in the next meeting.